Welcome to the top 8 grand finale and top deck list of the brand new ban list where Serenir was limited to 1, Conquistador has been unlimited, and the Chandelier was actually semi-limited, which seemingly had an effect on the Labyrinth players that wanted to join today's tournament, despite many of us saying that the deck's really not that much affected. But maybe the deck's still good, but only time will tell with future tournaments. Now, by watching and liking, commenting, subscribing, doing all that as much as you can, even if I'm on in the background, that greatly supports the video and the algorithm. I appreciate you for that, whether you're working or doing whatever you're doing. Thank you so much. Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Runick Flashfire in the draw phase to play around Droll and Lockbird as we want to summon a Hugin, discard search within the draw phase where Droll and Lockbird cannot be activated. We're chaining the Max C as the Ash then negates the Max C. Let's do it. How good are the Ishizu Shufflers in the current meta? Is it good? Hugin discarding not the Ishizu Shuffler, but discarding the Sacred Tree, which triggers in the graveyard to search for a Naturia Camella. Camella on summon will send a Naturia card from the deck to the grave, which will be another Naturia Tree to search for our Blessing, which could reborn a Natura from the graveyard or summon one from the hand. As we then synchro into our Tri-Edge Master to draw a card on summon. Come to us as we now reborn from the graveyard our Camella to then synchro this into a Baron Difflor. Omni negate plus pop a card on the field. We do have the Flashfire activatable here. What's unfortunate is we can't summon a Hugin, discard the Mudora to then spin a card in the graveyard back in the deck because Hugin can't search for a field spell when the card is limited to 1. Can we break this double disruption plus Max C? Hit him with the Max C in the draw phase. Nothing chainable to it. We have the Scareclaw field spell, grabbing a second copy of the right card on normal summon, searching our deck for an arrival to reborn from the grave. To battle we go. Now main phase. Oh boy. What about Vsauce? What about this? What about that? Vsauce can not pop the right card because it has to be a different type and attribute. We're also under Max C, so if we make a Light Heart, then pop it, then summon, like, what is our small play under Max C? We don't have a small play. We're just kind of screwed. And the reframing is not disruption. We just have nothing. Absolutely nothing. Max C killed us. But we don't have a battle phase though, right? We activated to summon Hugin, so no battle phase. We're fine. There's no real pressure to have to set up disruption because we can't get clapped up next turn. We got the Cricket, which will summon 1 monster from the deck. Camella, which will send from the deck the 3rd and final tree. Now, Mudora could shuffle your own trees back in the deck. That'd be quite interesting. Dealing with the reframing, we are now synchroing the Camella and the Gary into an Exceed, actually, Dugaris. We could draw 2. We could double the attack of Baron to floor. We're not going to do that. Or we could reborn a monster from the grave. I think we're drawing. Detach, skip your next draw phase, draw 2, end our turn. Did we end up on any more disruption? We actually have less. We have the Baron to floor Omni negate. We lost out on our Flashfire. You know, we do have some hand traps now. The Droll and Lockbird could be another card to completely disrupt them. All right, banishing 3 cards off the top of the deck. Rhymeheart now gone. Return back to the deck to off the top of the deck, draw into a Smiting Storm, which is not a disruption. Linking this off in a Light Heart. What's unfortunate about Yu-Gi-Oh right now is it used to be bait the Ash with your bad searches, and then bad players would use Ash early. Because Droll and Lockbird's in the meta, now you have to, your first search has to be your best search, so that when you get Drolled, at least you used your best search. But if you use your best search first, they then Ash you, so it's like, it took the skill out of the game in a way. Cricket being triggered off of you summoning a monster from the extra deck to reborn itself from the grave. And this was our bait for Ash, but then we get Drolled. So it's just like, I don't know. It's like, now it's a bad play? Huh? Cricket, come forth and summon from the deck our Camella. Camella will activate, sending another card from the deck to the grave, which will be the Sunflower. If we are to normal or special summon a monster, that will trigger Camella to reborn the Sunflower, then be able to negate 2 monsters. But the Camella is going to be destroyed by the effect of the Planet Field spell because there's 3 monsters in the field in defense. Thus, I guess we'd say we summoned Camella incorrectly in defense, where it should have been summoned in attack position. It does not have to go in defense. Yeah, we allowed the field spell to be activatable. We're chaining the Smiting Storm to summon a Huggin to protect the Camilla from being destroyed, though, by returning itself back in the extra deck. That works out. Okay. Protect the Camilla. Or by banishing, that is. But by battle, the Lighthearts got ya. Again, wouldn't attack position have stopped that? Yeah, Camilla bigger than the Lightheart attack position, and the field spell would have not been activatable. We are using the Mudora in response to the arrival, attempting to reborn the Reinhardt as we instead return it back in the deck, including our own Huggin and Tri-Edge Master. Beautifully done. Did not return any of our Sacred Trees back in the deck here. Baron de Fleur is going to be negating and destroying that Vsauce. It is a hard once per turn activation. Another copy will not be activatable. As we link this all up into a Nightmare Unicorn on summon, discard, spin a card in the field back into the deck. The Baron de Fleur already activated, getting rid of the Obsidian, and be gone Baron de Fleur. Skipping our draw phase due to drawing 2 on the last turn, we have our Cricket, which can now summon 2 monsters from the deck, but we're only summoning 1. As we now Shokan into Donner Dagger for hire to pop itself and the Unicorn. Yeah, that's it. All right, yep. Interesting plays we have here. We are replacing the Scareclaw field spell with another Scareclaw field spell, negating it with the Ash. You will not be searching for a Reinhardt, as we also follow up Natura Blessing, reborn from the graveyard, a Naturia, which could be the Camellia, which if we then activate a rival, it will trigger the Camellia to reborn the Sunflower, which will then be able to negate 2 monster effects. So I guess we completely stop that. We don't even do anything. We ain't arriving. No arrive. We are within the battle phase activating our Runick Tip after attacking, so we're going to be skipping our next battle phase. We are going to be popping the field spell to trigger our own field spell to draw up to 3 cards potentially, using the reframing to shuffle a ball back into our deck and banish 1. Okay. Or no, just 1 ball. How many cards do we have banished off the top of the deck here? Vsauce is banished. We did get to draw a bunch of cards there as we now summon our Huggin to synchro with the Camellia to draw a card with the Tri-Edge. Let's freaking do it. Draw a card. We're going to use the Slumber, and this is a Chaos Angel. A dark and light Chaos Angel, unaffected from monster effects, and none of your monsters can be destroyed by battle. Very well done. Despite not having the on-summon banish being put to use, it is still very good. I mean, we could use a rival, but then what do we do with it? There's nothing to do. I guess you could make Verte Anaconda, right? Anaconda, Mirror Jade, but the Chaos Angel's unaffected from the Mirror Jade banish, but the Mirror Jade destruction effect would be activatable. Is it still worth it to summon the Mirror Jade? Planet Tearlament field spell being negated from, we're not searching a Tearlament, we're searching a Vsauce, and that is now negated. We're going to take that 3,500 beat. I guess we're going for the Anaconda right here, right now. Max C is draw 3. Draw 1 for the Reborn, draw 2 for the Verte, draw 3 for the Mirror Jade that can't even banish the Chaos Angel off the field. Thus, we're surrendering. All right. Rhyme hard attempting to search for a ball that we already have in our hand. That was a bait negate. That's what I'm talking about. You bait the negates, and you don't just get drolled and lose instead. We have triple tactics talent attempting to look at the opponent's hand, chaining the Maxi before it's returned back in the deck, as we have our own Ash to negate that Maxi. Now we have full Wombo combo, Mannadium. If you don't know how the deck plays, what to do turn 1, now you know through watching this full combo. Let's speed it up. And the only thing missing would be if you were playing a Sprite Elf, which, because we're playing the branded engine, we are not. So what is this? If we were to be destroyed or if a card is banished, we are going to be able to use the Chang Ying to banish a card in the field and in the grave. And we have Baron de Fleur negate. So like this really, yeah, then, you know, it's not that much. Could have had an Apollo USA instead of the Chang Ying if we wanted to. But I'm thinking this is actually maybe better against Runick because they trigger your own Chang Ying, so you could banish their field spell and in the graveyard. So think about this. They have Field Spell, they activate a card that banishes. Field Spell, Chain Link 1 because you're turn player. Chain Link 2, Chang Ying, banish the Field Spell. I don't know, I'm spitting. Banish the Field Spell and a card in the grave, thus it's stopped and the limited to 1 Field Spell is gone. So this is the counter. Let's do it. Flash Fire on the Baron to floor. This is where if we had a Sprite Elf, it would have been untargetable. Negate. Okay. Cricket, Tribute, summon 2 monsters from the deck. Max C will only draw 1 for the double special summon. For a card like Nibiru, summons, then summons, so that would be a draw 2. Camellia, sending from the deck to the grave, the tree activating the search our deck for a second copy of the Blessing. More than 1 are activatable in the same turn. What are we doing here? Exceeding into Dugaris, under Max C, detach 2 to draw 2, and all right, draw 2, discard. We're now making a Huggin. Under Max C, by the way. Discard, searching our deck for a field spell that we can't trigger. We're like, okay, we're relying on Max C, I guess. It's all on the Max C. Baron to floor, attempt to pop the field spell. We could use the Huggin to banish and protect the field spell, which will trigger the Changing to then banish the field spell. Yeah, thus we didn't really protect it. It was worse than it being destroyed. Let's just say this is over. Tribute some. Whoa! Mannadium Prime Heart is here. Ain't no way. It's got double attack. It can't be targeted. Let's do it. Lethal damage. How do you have room? Aren't you playing the branded engine? Gee, did I scare you? Sorry, I think she jumped. Woo! Prime Heart, Prime Heart. All right, we're starting this off with the Runick Dispelling within the draw phase to play around that Draw and Lockbird. Thus, we're not going to be able to use it after the Huggin searches for the field spell. Perfectly done. This is similar to Purely's using their cards in the draw phase. Nice. Now we're going to get Drolled. Search in the Slumber, Droll the Slumber. You're not going to be setting up with the Runick Fountain to draw multiple cards within your own turn, but you'll do it during my turn, as we have the ability to stop an attack, protect a monster from destruction, battle destruction that is, and the Flash Fire being able to destroy. Also, a card effect destruction too. Using the Smiting Storm to trigger the Fountain. We're going to use DD Crow, which doesn't stop the whole effect like it does against Pot of Avarice. It will still be able to return 2, draw 2 instead of 3. 1, 2, draw 2. Did not draw into more disruption, unfortunately. We just have Flash Fire as our main disruptive play. We could pop a special summon monster. Lightheart big enough to take out the Huggin. Huggin returning itself back into the extra deck here. Able to at least eat up a battle phase, as we could not really follow up into anything better. Huh. We are using the Flash Fire to destroy the Lightheart, chaining the Smite Storm to banish 2 cards off the top of the deck, triggering our own field spell to draw 3. Lots of cards banned. A Ball is gone. Rhymeheart, Rykar, 1 Vsauce Starfrost. Generally, people are playing 2. Battle phase skipped. We dead Blessing, dead Sacred Tree. The issue with Natura Runick right now, if you're wondering, what happened to the deck? Why aren't more people playing this? Well, you are much less consistently having a way to discard the Sacred Tree because Huggin can't search for a second copy of the field spell, which is the way to discard the Sacred Tree to trigger the effect to search for Naturias, which is why we now have it set instead of being able to discard it. Grabbing a Vsauce Starfrost with our Scareclaw field spell as the Droll and Lockbird locks them out from further adding cards. We are going to be using the Flash Fire to wipe out the Rykart as we follow up with another arrival to reborn it back on the field. Normal summoning Maxi to pop the Maxi to then make a Baron to... Whoa! Slumber protecting Maxi from being destroyed by the Starfrost. Thus, you don't summon Starfrost, you don't make a Baron to floor, you then make a Verte Anaconda instead if our Branded Fusion and Albaz are not banished. Branded Fusion, Albaz check. They're not banished. Let's go. Yep. Wait, am I mixing him up with another player? I think I am. You're not the branded one. That's another Mannadium player. I'm sorry. In the top 16, there's a branded Mannadium player, and it's not you. All right, so double Mannadium in the top 8, I believe. Chameleon summon, sending a tree from the deck to the grave. Trigger the tree, search our deck for a cricket, which could be special summon from the hand with the blessing. Bless us with the cricket. Cricket summon up to 2 monsters from the deck. We got Sunflower and Camellia. We are now going to synchro this up into the Tri-Edge Master to draw a card to then go into a level 10 Baron de Fleur is what I'm thinking. Nibiru is going to stop that Baron de Fleur play. Ain't no way. The cricket is optional summon 2 monsters. You summon, or you could summon 2. So we got a little bit greedy there, playing right into Nibiru. Draw 2 at the TTT, as we are then ending with our set Blessing. What's interesting with the Blessing is if they activate and effect a special summon, you then chain summon Camellia. Camellia will then trigger Reborn the Sunflower, which will then have the double monster negate. But not in response to a tribute summon. Blessing, reborning the Camellia. Camellia on summon, send for the deck to the grave. Our final tree. Now, tree could tribute Camellia to summon a cricket from the deck if we want. Is that only during the main phase? No, we could even do it during the battle phase. It just wasn't a good opportunity to even do so. Boosting up the Starfrost permanently after destroying a monster by battle, but that token at 5,500 attack with no way to stop it, as the reframing does absolutely nothing. With nothing in the grave nor field to stop the onslaught of the 5,500 token, we take it. If we summon, Camellia reborns the Sunflower, which then gives them double monster negate, and spells are now illegal. Because we summon a Naturia, that triggers the cricket to reborn from the grave. The cricket doesn't really have anything too good to summon from the deck here. That's going to be a negate. I don't think so. Naturia Beast, negate the Peaceful Planet. Naturia Beast negates Pendulum Scales. Yeah, that's pretty good. Vicious Astrolaud. We had that before activating our field spell. What the? On summon, we're going to pop the Naturia Beast, trigger Camellia, reborn our, I believe, Sunflower. Yes. Now, it does have the double monster negate if it is not destroyed by battle. So we took out the Camellia instead, so the Sunflower just has 1 monster negate, which we didn't have anyway. And again, the reframing does nothing. You have to have a synchro on the field in order to negate anything with the reframing. The token that you gave them is just bigger than anything you want to do. By using a Runick card in the battle phase, you do not skip that battle phase. It's the next battle phase. Get ready. No, that's the scoop. He did have the attack. We scooped before it. It was valid to do so. A cool play with the Runick card in the battle phase, even though no one's really playing Runick anymore, is summon Gary in the battle phase to then attack with it to destroy a card on the field. Very well done, Naturia, Runick. Foolish barrel this up, sending our limited to 1 Serenir, sending a Retribution from the deck to the grave here. With Quem, Mirror Jade, and Cartesia, that's a combo. What you do is you Mirror Jade, banish a card in the field non-targeting of a monster. Then you use the Cartesia to fuse the Mirror Jade with anything. It could be ideally with a dark monster so that it will make a Dragostapelia. That's another negate. And that will trigger the Quem to reborn the Mirror Jade because the Cartesia does not banish the fusion materials, which will then be another monster banish. We then have the Mercurier, which is a monster negate. We then have the Banishment, which could use the opponent's field to fuse. So it's about 5 disruptions. Let's go. Reinforce the army, grabbing a Raisin here. That was a bait negate. Pantera is a free special summon in the same column as the Banishment. Pantera activating to wipe out the Banishment column, forcing the early activation to reborn a monster from the grave to then fuse with either side of the field. This is a banish. So we don't want to banish our Mirror Jade, because then we can't reborn it with the Quem. Goodbye. Looks like we're just summoning and not using it as disruption. So we just have 4 disruptions here. Stake your soul, reveal the Raisin, summon a Jiaolong. Jiaolong, reveal double fire. 2, then search our deck for any Vanquish Soul card as the Mercurier negates. Thus, we just have 3 more disruption. Only 3 left. Cartesia fusing, not with the Mirror Jade to then reborn with the Quem. So we only have 2 disruption here. We have the Mirror Jade and the Dragostapelia, Monster Negate and Monster Banish. Dragostapelia activating to negate the Raisin. The Vanquish Soul Caesar is going to return the Raisin back to the hand so it does not get negated. We're then using the Mirror Jade to non-target Monster Banish, banishing the target of the Caesar so the Caesar does not get to be summoned, still dodging the negates. All right, all right. Adding our Mad Love. To battle, we go. Goodbye to the Quem. We used up everything. We have nothing left for activating. No more disruption. Main phase 2, Rock of the Vanquisher. See, I just want to say, this is when Yu-Gi-Oh! Is great. This is what we all play Yu-Gi-Oh! For. A decent turn 1, a good turn 2, interacting, playing through disruptions. And you know what's missing here? No Max C to definitely ensure that the next turn follow-up that we crush you. Mad Love grabbing our Dust Devil, our non-target Book of Moon, plus the Snow Devil, which will be able to wipe up the entire field of monsters, plus summon a Vanquish Soul from our hand. Now, Branded does not need Maxi to have a good follow-up, and it's not over. We're summoning an Albaz from the deck during the end phase, fusing with the Mad Love to then make, what are we making? A Lubellion. With Lubellion, we're going to discard a card to fuse, and then that is going to be a Borreload Furious, which could pop a card in the field still here. We're going to be popping our own monster, plus your back row. Goodbye to the Dust Devil. I should say Dust Devil, Snow Devil still here. Borreload Furious is wiping out the Rock of the Vanquisher before it could activate within the main phase to summon a Vanquish Soul from the hand, which could have been a Raisin to destroy the column of monsters. Using the Branded opening to protect our own monster from the destruction of the Borreload Furious. We still have Snow Devil, which could reveal just Earth and Fire. Not Dark. We don't have Triple. Only if you reveal Triple do you get to destroy all monsters on the field. So the full field wipe play is gone. Albion sending from the deck to the grave a Retribution to recycle a card in the grave, which will be recycling our Branded Fusion. Believe it or not, the card is limited to 1, yet they have so many ways to continually add it back to the hand and keep on activating it, as we now have the untargetable Albion Sanctifier Dragon. Triggering the Branded Loss to grab a kit, which could special summon to then search our deck and return a card back into the deck. We're going to reveal 2, special summon onto the field here, a Raisin. Raisin can search our deck for a Dark, reveal the Dark and Fire, wipe out the column, but all of that is stopped by the Ash Blossom Negate. Damn. Damn. Branded Despia, post-banless, restricted, hit with the Serenator going to 1, winning game 1. Mad Love on summon, searching for the Book of Moon non-target flip. That's quite interesting that we did not max C on the resolution, which you would think they would do so to stop them from summoning the Rock of the Vanquisher, but no, we didn't even want to summon a Rock of the Vanquisher. What's going on here? Huh? Search and, yeah, okay. And it is a really good way to ensure that we do get to use the Book of Moon effects, because think about this. If we really want to use the Book of Moon effect, what are we doing? We're making Rock of the Vanquisher, which we then have to add back to the hand, which then we have to hope it does not get disrupted, as we only within the main phase could summon the Mad Love to then Book of Moon. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I still would have done it. Super Poly, double up, fusion deploy, reveal the Mirror Jade to summon our Albaz. Now, the Dust Devil does not stop a fusion summon by flipping the Albaz face down. You still get to fuse. Lubellion is here, and now Ash is no good, as we use Lubellion and Albaz to make our Mirror Jade, completely playing around, not even having a Branded Fusion. I do like to joke that even with Branded Fusion banned, that the deck would still be good. Ash Blossom, negate the Nadir Servant, which would lock you out of the extra deck for the rest of the turn, but search in your deck for a Dogmatica. We are setting up our Super Poly, ready to fuse with the opponent's field, plus the Mirror Jade being able to non-target monster banish, activating to banish the Fenrir before it activates to search the deck for a monster. We have Kashtira Birth to rebirth that Fenrir back onto the field. We also got Theosis. We got some plays. There's no more real disruption here. Grab ourselves a unicorn that could be normal summoned. As we do so right now, we do not give them a draw for the maxi for that normal summon, but special summoning the Scareclaw Kashtira here will be another draw as we now take control of the Mirror Jade straight to the battle phase, but we have super polymerization to stop this lethal play. We were so assured that we thought we had game. We should have had game. Triggering the Birth to banish 3 cards from the opponent's graveyard face down, getting rid of the Albion, which would have activated during the end phase, and banishing the second and final copy of Albion with the effect of Unicorn, triggering the Garuro Incense of the Grave to draw a random card. Having to give back that Mirror Jade during the end phase, though, is not good. Alubur on summon, searching for our branded fusion, which you just can't believe they still have access to, but there's a Mirror Jade on the field. As the Thrust then searches for a branded in white, there's just nothing that could stop branded Despia. No banlist will stop it. We're going to TTT, take control of your unicorn, as we then just give it up and surrender, as the hidden face down card is actually public knowledge. Gold Sark versus Maxi Ash. Let's do it. Banishing the Tragedy, searching for the Alubur, searching for the branded fusion, and then negating with the Ash. You had so many other opportunities to have your Ash eaten, but you save it for the branded fusion. This is the ideal. Now, the triple tactics talent, we could choose to look at the hand or draw 2. We could thrust a duplication into our back row to use the branded fusion during the opponent's turn, which I'm thinking that's going to be our play now that we're under Max C. Looking at the hand, I'm thinking we spin that called by back. No, oh yeah, remember I said that the Maxi actually does keep branded Despia in check only if you have 2 to use one on their turn and on your turn, and that was the case here. That's why we returned the second Maxi back in the deck to now do all our fusion summoning on your turn. Very nice. We are ready with that duplication that cannot be ashed. We're gonna be searching for a Water Enchantress. We're going to be banishing to grab the Right of Air's Mirror. We now don't have a search for the Griffin Rider negate, which we desperately needed to stop the fusion duplication. Call by the Grave cannot finger a spell, unfortunately, forcing out the activation with the Draco back onto the duplication. It's now time to fuse on your turn. Now, we know he has Called By. We know it. So, Called By does not stop Lubellion. That's why you summon Lubellion. Perfect. Lubellion discard, fusing with the Albaz and itself. You banish Albaz, so what? While it's banished, it's returned back. Now you have Mirror Jade, and Called By is nothing. To battle we go. We're not going to even protect our Alubur by banishing the token. We're holding on to the Mirror Jade banish. We're holding. Why'd we hold? Because Mobile held on to his finger, and we know that finger's in the hand, so if we were to even end phase banish, send Albion, they would finger our Albion. We could instead save it for our own turn. Opening into the Quem onto the field. Quem sending a Cartesia from the deck. Gold Sark be ticking. Now, we banish the token, safe from the Called By. Had he set Called By, we would have then used the Mirror Jade, I believe so. Cartesia gets swinging. This is the combo here. You can fuse Cartesia and Mirror Jade to then trigger the Quem to reborn the Mirror Jade to then banish another monster on the field. Albion being triggered, grabbing the banishment, which again plays into the Called By. And the Quem, reborning Mirror Jade, plays into the Called By. We can't set Called By. It's stuck in our hand. So how do we do that? Our play is knowing that there's a Called By there. Uh-oh. Okay, we're going to finger the, so you try to reborn it, you finger the Mirror Jade, you then chain branded banishment to reborn the Mirror Jade, and then we countered the finger by having 2 cards to reborn our monster. Yep. Attempt to finger the Mirror Jade as we then chain the banishment to reborn. Gotcha. Perfect play. Returning that second copy of Max C was the way. And then we can banish the Scales before it even discards the Scythe. Can't discard Scythe. We're also going to just fuse with the Scales, not even having to use our Mirror Jade. We have a monster negate plus a monster banish. Oh, man, Branded is just decimating our tournament post-ban list. What's going on? Konami tried their best to stop them with the Serenir hit, and I guess it's back to the drawing board. A lot of people are suggesting for Fallen Albaz to be limited to 1. That's so absurd, it may just work. To battle we go. Lethal damage. Jackalope in response, we have Max C, as it will randomly be special summoning itself by discarding another card and then drawing a card. Unless it discards itself, you don't get that draw. Negate the C with our own Ash, discarding the Droplet. We could have set Droplet if we wanted to hold on to it. And then you get Drolled. So I'm talking about the Droll and Lockbird against a card like Upstart Goblin, even Pot of Greed, you then can't use your other effects to get adding. So sending the Water Enchantress here is not a good play, which is why we're not doing so with our Cherubini. We're gonna use the Ragged Gloves to then send from the deck to the graveyard a Phoenix Wing, which will trigger the Scales to summon from the graveyard to then discard a card to send another card from the deck to the grave, triggering the Danger Snake to reborn itself from the graveyard, using the Wing to then reborn the Cloak from the grave. We could Rusty, which plays under the Droll. It could send and set, so we don't even care. I guess Phantom Knight don't care about Droll, but everyone's playing Droll because of Mannadium and Super Heavy Samurai. Rusty is now here. Get ready, setting up a Monster Negate plus sending a Phantom Knight from the deck to the grave. Ash is going to negate. A very well-timed negate. What do we do from here, though? We're going to go into the Anaconda, send Fusion Destiny, making DPE for the non-target destroy every single turn. DPE is here. Can't special summon anymore for the rest of the turn. We have DPE and Max C. Do we have any other disruption here? Not really. We're going to be activating our branded opening in response to the Max C. Special summoning before it would give them a draw. Summoning our Alibur, activating to search our deck for our branded fusion. Can DPE stop a branded fusion play? Well, here's the situation now. By activating the branded loss, we're not going to even be able to respond to the fusion summons, and the fusion monsters can't be destroyed as long as there is an opening in the grave to banish itself instead. Activate. This is it. Do we pop the Lost? Lost will search for an branded monster, an Albaz monster. We still have our normal summon. So this could search for a Quem that we could normal summon. It could search for a Kit. It could search for a Mercurial, which will negate the DPE. I feel like you have to. Yup, we're doing it. Get poppin', poppin' itself. The correct play, as the Mirror Jade would have banished the DPE. And oh my gosh. This could steal DPE? Huh? Target 2 monsters, summon both, 1 to each field. Oh my gosh, that is nuts. We're doing it, right? We're taking it during, wait, no. It's only during the opponent's turn. During the draw phase, though. You could draw phase reborn DPE before it's reborn. Yup. Bro, what? Am I not understanding? During the opponent's turn with toggle on, target DPE, reborn it. I guess we messed up. Oops. Yeah, we were supposed to do that. I mean, I think that was the correct play. I think that was the whole purpose of summoning the Sanctifier. Maybe we forgot to toggle on. We don't have a card to discard for the Albaz being summoned on our own field. So we're going to summon the Cartesia instead onto our field to then fuse with our Albion or our Alibur. Making Nightmare, Unicorn, on summon, discard a card, spin a card in the field back into the deck here. The Albion Sanctifier cannot be targeted, as we're forcing the Cartesia to get Fusion. So we're going to chain DPE to the Fusion activation, popping the Unicorn and the Cartesia. Cartesia does not have to be fused with itself, like Albaz has to be fused with itself. So Alibur and Sanctifier, let's get Fusion. Wait, we didn't have a valid Fusion with the Cartesia? How do we not have a valid Fusion? Wait, it can't be used for Fusion material. Oh my gosh, no Dragostapelia. That's kind of like the Tearlament Fusion big dude that cannot be, the Kaleido Heart cannot be used for Fusion material. How many cards can't be used for Fusion material? We have Dagda Scythe Lock in this deck, ain't no way. Fogblade reborning a properly summoned Rusty from the grave We're going to be activating its effect to send a cloak from the deck to the grave to then set up a fog blade for a monster negate. Malicious will banish itself to then summon from the deck. Shade only with no traps in the grave, summoning itself from the back row onto the field into a Link Spider play. What is Link Spider doing? As we then make an access code talker, which requires effect monsters to summon, so the Shade itself would not be usable. We're going to protect the Albion Sanctifier for the first destruction, but for the second destruction, it does go through. Making sure to destroy the fusion first, then the Alibur. If you change up the order, the Alibur would be activating in response to the Albion being destroyed, summoning and negating the access code talker and preventing it from being boosted and further activating to wipe the fields. And just like that, Phantom Knight taking game number 2. Branded opening, there's no hand trap in sight. Let's speed this up. Alibur grabbing our branded fusion with the opening, summoning it. We have Mirror Jade, non-target monster banish. We have Cartesia, which could fuse the Mirror Jade and let's say the Albaz for a Dragostapelia. The Quem will then reborn it, making it another monster banish. We have the Branded Beast, which could pop a card in the field. We have the Lost, which could search for a Mercurial monster negate. We have the Banishment, which could fuse with the fields. We have about 6 disruption. And we could Rinbrum reborn the Albaz, fuse with the opponent's field. That's about 7 disruptions. We do have Droplet, but a lot of our disruption is in the back row here and in the hand with the Lost. So I'm very interested in how this is played out. Not using the Ash to negate the search for the Rite of Erismir, activating, chaining called by. This to me tells me he is setting up a Droplet play. On the activation of these cards before they're sent to the graveyard, we're going to use the Droplet to send them. And if we send a monster alongside them, they cannot chain a monster effect to the Droplet. There we go. Using the Droplet, sending from our hand and field 3 cards. So we are going to be using the Branded Beast to pop the Droplet. Now we could chain a monster effect if we want to. There's a very cool ruling here. If you send 3 and there isn't at least 3 monsters on the field, your Droplet negates nothing. So how do we do that? We could use Cartesia to fuse with Quem to make it so we only have 2 monsters on the field, thus the Droplet does not negate the Mirror Jade. We also can maybe do something crazy with the Banishment. Let's see what we do. It looks like we're doing the thing. We could Cartesia with the Mirror Jade, and then there's 2 monsters. Droplet negates nothing, then Quem could reborn the Mirror Jade. Oh my Jesus. Ash, negate the Maxi. So Droplet needs to negate 3, but there's only going to be 2. Yup. Let's go. Let's go. Droplet negates nothing, mate. And we could not chain a monster effect to Droplet, but we didn't chain a monster effect to Droplet. We chained a monster effect to our own trap because you didn't send a trap, not through a misplay. You didn't have a trap to send. So we chained the trap, then chained to our trap to then have only 2 monsters in the field versus your triple Droplet, thus you negate nothing. Drop nothing. Nothing. Mirror Jade, not negated. Masquerade, not negated. Nothing negated. Very well done. And we had 4 monsters on the field. Negate 3 with 4 monsters. We went from 4 to 2 to stop the Droplet. We have the Fateful Adventure, grabbing our Draco back here, activating the Fateful to search for a Griffin Rider, which will be an Omni Negate. Draco back equipping onto the token is going to be devastating, so we want to banish that token. The Griffin Rider could chain special summon, but will not have the ability to negate. The Take Tomborg is not a level 3 tuner, so what do we do with the Griffin Rider and the Take Tomborg? I think we Verte Anaconda into DPE, yes? Boots will be searching for the Shade. With no trap in the grave, we could summon itself onto the field. We're going Dagda. Shade summon onto the field, burning 600 per activation. Chain the Dagda to the Shade, setting up a Scythe into the back row. We already used up our Mirror Jade. We just have a Banishment play. Shade is here, Link Spider. Then we go into DPE, Verte Anaconda with a back row Scythe. Ain't no way. That's right, it's no way, because we're going to reborn the Banishment, fusing the Anaconda in the Mirror Jade to summon a Dragostapelia. triggering the Quem to reborn a monster from the grave and send a monster from the deck to the grave. We can't reborn the Mirror Jade because it's banished by banishment, but now we have a monster negate, and we have Albion that we could send to the graveyard through a Lubellion, I believe we have in the graveyard. Yes, we do. Cartesia recycle itself during the end phase, and I don't think you need me to tell you that that is the end of this match. They have nothing. No more disruption on the field nor the grave. Branded Despia absolutely unfreaking stoppable. Finish him. Yep. Great ban list. Very good ban list. The best ban list. Traptrix versus Vanquish Soul in the top 8. Set a whole T and pass. That's not very good. Okay. End phase is going to special summon itself onto the field. We don't have to discard a trap because it was not the turn it was set. We can now make our Sarah, but the shifter is going to ensure that any card sent to the grave is banished instead. Maxi not activatable if we're under the effect of shifter, so in response to its effect activation, we send the Maxi to the grave before the summon of the Sarah. At 400 attack, what the heck were you going to destroy by battle? What, like an effect veiler? All right, we are going to be tribute summoning our Jialong onto the field, activating by revealing 2 fire to search our deck for any Vanquish Soul card, which would be the Dust Devil. The ability to flip a card on the field face down. Get Book of Moon in. So I guess they would summon a Traptrix, then flip it down before the Sarah play happens. Is this what we're doing in the draw phase? We're going to Jialong reveal. Double fire before we have a reason to use our Ash. That's going to trigger the other Jialong to summon itself onto the field. You're not using the Dust Devil, as the whole T now makes a Sarah. With Sarah on the field, we want to activate a trap or the effect of a Traptrix to trigger her effect. Okay, we're just ending our turn. We're not doing anything. We're just bluffing. Now, the issue with this, the Trap Hole Nightmare only works on the Caesar the turn it's summoned. I think Chris knew that. When the monster was summoned, this turn activates. You get to negate and destroy, which now it's dead. We have the Jialong activating to search the deck as the Imperm negates. By using the Imperm, that will trigger Sarah. Sarah will summon a Traptrix, maybe a Pudika. Pudika will then banish is what I'm thinking. Ash negating. Not only the ability to summon a Traptrix, but also the ability to set a trap from the deck. Double effects have been stopped by stopping the 1. We have Raisin on normal summon, searching our deck. As long as we do not play into the Trap Hole Nightmare, we are good. Even if we play into the Trap Hole Nightmare, Sarah already activated the hard once per turn effect of summoning a Traptrix from the deck. Sarah is now dead, as you think we have lethal damage as we attack directly, but the whole T reborning the Sarah from the grave, blocking at least 800 damage, but it is still game. A valiant effort, I would say. Good job to Traptrix for trying. We're still in this, though. Okay, it's not over. Mermelio activating to search our deck for our Gravedigger Trap Hole as we now make our Traptrix Sarah. The turn we set the whole T, we discard a normal trap to special summon itself onto the field, triggering Sarah to summon a Diane to return the discarded trap back onto the field as the DD Crow banishes the Floodgate Trap Hole instead. The Sarah will still trigger from the effect activation of the Diane to then set a trap from the deck. And I think once Traptrix is able to successfully resolve double Sarah effect turn 1 without you disrupting it, it may be over. That's it. It's too much advantage. Summon and set from the deck. We have Time Thief Redoer, which with the whole T, which was a level 4 monster, it's actually a trap. As you can see, that's a trap. It is the ability to detach my card effect, and then it could spin a card in the field back to the deck. It's now crazy non-target disruption. Sucking up the top card. Ooh, we also could draw a card. We could draw and spin. That's crazy. Pot of P digging 6 cards deep off the top of the deck here. We have negate an activated card from the hand or grave. We have negate a monster effect activated in response to a card. We have spin a card, which is what we're doing right here, right now. Now, what's crazy about this non-target spin is that you don't have a good reason to use the Borger or Caesar to chain spin the Raisin back to your hand, because the newly summoned card will then be spun back in the deck. So by not targeting, it counters the Vanquish Soul. Oh, we drawing, we spinning. And we now have Pantera. Okay, Pantera special summoning into the column of one of the traps, but the Gravedigger trap hole is going to negate and then trigger Sarah. If we want to use Sarah now, we may want to wait with Sarah. We're not waiting to summon a Pudika. We're going to summon the Diane, reset up a Gravedigger trap hole, then set up another hole T. Triple Tactics Talent's going to be looking at the hand. You are not going to be looking at anything as we discard our DD Crow and special summon our Arachnocampa. Dodge it. Very well done for Traptrix. We are making plays. We are doing it. If you look very closely, the Shadow Smoke is showing you the cards that could be activated. So the Chain Hole and Impermanence, that's it. But we are ending our turn. The Pantera cannot attempt to special summon again. We already used up our normal summon. Ain't no way. Traptrix is the way. Reborn, our Myrmelio, mandatory effect to activate to pop a back row, which there is none to pop. It being mandatory means that it does trigger Sarah, which is very cool. And just like that, let's take this to game 3. Traptrix going second is sus. Let's speed this up. Pada D, banishing 10. Goodbye to our limited to 1 Fenrir. No Fenrir to search with our pressure planet. We have our Raisin. Raisin on summon, searching for the Jiao Long. We're going to be activating the Mad Love, grabbing the Snow Devil, which could wipe up the entire field of monsters, non-targeting. We now have Borger to draw a card every single turn. Triggering the Jiao Long to come forth and summon, reveal Double Fire to search your deck for any Vanquish Soul card. I believe we'll be searching for the Caesar Valius or maybe the Dust Devil. The Book of Moon Flipper, that could be something good. Stopping them from summoning a Sarah. We're grabbing the Caesar Valius instead. And just like that, back to you. We got Pop. We got Wipe Out a Column. We have, that is not the Dust Devil. We do have the Vanquish Soul Snow Devil to destroy the entire field of monsters. Bring bluffing back to Yu-Gi-Oh! We used to bluff cards in the back row because of MST. Well, Myrmelio pops a card in the back row, so we're bluffing with the Stake Your Soul. We didn't... Oh, are we using Impermanence in the draw phase to stop the Rock of the Vanquisher? Potentially, maybe. We are using the Borger and the Jiao Long first to search our deck and draw. Grabbing the Raisin and get that random draw, not into a hand trap. We're going straight to the battle phase. Did not activate the Rock of the Vanquisher. Evenly matched, banishing everything but 1. We still have the ability to wipe out the entire field, which we're doing. The Pudika could search for a field spell, which allows us to additionally summon nothing because we don't have anything to additionally summon. Burn for 1800 damage, wiping out the Pudika. And despite evenly matching, the match is far from even. They have 8 cards in the hand without even max seeing. How is this possible? We even have the Caesar Valius to pop a card during the end phase, thus we're just gonna do nothing? Okay, we're trying to get more value out of our other evenly matches, sure. But what if they win? Right now, we have Imperm to stop lethal. That's 6,000 damage. Ooh, okay, 200 life points. Borger for game, though. Am I right? Wait, banish just 1? What are you doing? You're destroying 1 card on the field? Okay, destroy the other Caesar, right? Sure. So we don't want to banish face down. Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Yep. No Caesar banished. Do not pop the evenly match because then you banish your whole field. We have Rock of the Vanquisher. Could we Borger burn for game right now? Well, we do have Impermanence for it. If we had... Oh, okay. No game, no Borger. We are in the main phase to battle phase again, evenly matching, banishing everything on the field except 1 card, using the Mad Love to return a monster on the field to be controlled back to our hand before it gets banished face down. Goodbye to everything but the Rock of the Vanquisher. We have Pudika not triggering on normal summon. We're going to summon the Raisin in the same column as the Pudika, revealing Fire and Dark to wipe her out. We now have the Traptrix Garden with no additional monster to normal summon. What the hell? We have Pantera in the same column as the Trap Hole Nightmare, thus destroying it by revealing 2 cards in the hand. Using Rock of the Vanquisher to add back from the grave our Caesar Valleys to then return back our Pantera to come forth and summon Caesar Valleys as we then activate to wipe out that back row card, forcing out the activation of Impermanence. No, we're just like, we don't care anymore. Congratulations, Traptrix, for making it to the top 8. I very much appreciate you bringing this deck and doing well in the tournament. I loved it. I'm sure everyone else loved it. Chris is now advancing with Vanquish Soul. Branded Despia versus Naturia Runick. We have Branded Opening being responded to with a Max C, so we could add the card to the hand instead of special summoning it, which will be Alibur to the hand, as we said. Now, Alibur and Quem compete with the normal summon. Somehow we have our limited one Serenir sending a Retribution from the deck to the graveyard here after being discarded with the opening, as the Albion sends a Branded Fusion from the deck to the grave to add back to the hand with the Retribution. We'd also have a Branded Lost. So I'm thinking we make an Albion Sanctifier Dragon with the Lost, so they only draw 1 for the Max C, and it's still pretty damn good, right? Usually would send a Rinbrum, I should say summon a Rinbrum, but now we do Sanctifier Dragon to Reborn the Albaz during the opponent's turn to then fuse with the opponent's field. We also have Mercurier for Monster Negate. We got a great setup, all under that 1 draw Max C. Tip in the draw phase to play around Droll. Runick Smiting to special summon from the extra deck. We're not banishing 4 cards on the field. Hugin is here. On summon, discard search our deck for the field spell. All playing around Droll. You can't Droll in the draw phase. We do have Mercurier, unfortunately, for the negate. We're going to chain Runick Destruction onto the Super Polymerization. As we're not chaining that Super Poly, we can't even fuse with our own Sanctifier Dragon. Now, what do we want to do here? Ending our turn during the end phase, we're going to take your Max C to summon an Albaz onto our side of the field to fuse with your Hugin to make a Mirror Jade. Now, Mirror Jade could banish the Max C, or we could wait for you to summon a Gary. I think we have to wait for Gary. Lost is activating, searching for a Cartesia. Magna Hut banishing our Mercurier to summon itself during the end phase, triggering the Mercurier to search for an Albaz monster as we also search for a dragon from the deck or graveyard. This could recycle Serenir if we want to use Serenir multiple times. We're going to grab the Lubellion instead. Lubellion discard, searching our deck for Druid Swarm. Getting hit by the Droll Knockbird, so to play around only having 1 Serenir, we replaced it with Druid Swarm and Magna Hut. Now, Lubellion tributing our Magna Hut to come forth and summon. We're going to use the Flash Fire to destroy it before it sets up a Branded Beast to pop a card in the field. Cartesia special summoning to then follow up, use our Triple Tactics talent to take control of the Max C to then attack for game. With an activatable Mirror Jade, we're ready for any potential special summon to block our attacks. Banished. Very nice. Branded and Naturia. Oh boy. Freezing Curse is being met with Max C, but we have Ash to keep in check the keep in checker. Negate. Wait. Ash used on Max C, so they can now use Grass Looks Greener. That is going to be a devastating play next turn. Maybe Grass should be banned. What other decks would be hurt by that? Grabbing our Runick Fountain within the draw phase to play around the Draw and Lockbird. We have the Runick Fountain plus the Golden Droplet, forcing them to draw into an Ash plus banish the top 4 cards of their deck, thus lessening the amount of cards that they will be milling off the top of their deck, as the Ash now negates newly drawn Ash, negating the Runick Fountain from drawing. We got the Cricket to summon just 1 monster from the deck. It only summons 2 if the opponent has higher attack than you on the field. Sending the Sacred Tree to grab the Naturia Blessing as we then synchro into a Tri-Edge Master to draw a card to then Reborn to then make a Baron to floor. We also got that Flash Fire, pop a special summon monster. That's pretty damn good. Omni Negate plus pop a special summon monster. And draw 3. Draw 3, pop a Negate. We have Grass looking green, using Baron to floor with that Negate, plus chaining the Runick Flashing Fire to summon from the extra deck our Gary to trigger our field spell to return back to draw 3. Using up our Disruption for a random draw 3. What are we hoping for? Maybe Ash? Can't use another Flash Fire. That did not work out. We were hoping for better hand traps here. Quem on summon, sending a Branded Fusion. We did not draw into an Ash. We already used up our Baron to floor on the grass-looking green. An uninterrupted Branded Fusion play is now here to then summon Albion. Albion will banish the Albaz from the graveyard, as the Quem also triggers to reborn an Albaz from the graveyard. The Cricket, because you summon a monster from the action deck, will reborn from the grave, but will then get fingered by the called by, negated. Do we have enough Albaz? Albaz and Albaz? Wait, what are we fusing with this one? Reborning Albaz and banishing Albaz? I'm confused. Okay, we're fusing Cartesia and Quem for a Gangrenol instead. Sure. And the Albaz from the graveyard will discard to fuse with the Baron de Flor or Gary. Gary's indestructible by card effects, and if destroyed by battle, will destroy any card on the field. So we probably want to get rid of that, as we do, as the Mirror Jade can now banish the Baron de Flor. I mean, it really did not matter. And this is exactly 8,000 for game. We do have Slumber to stop an attack. Stop the 8K with the Slumber on the final attack. Could block it or prevent the attack, just like that. Very well done. Any good cards banished. The Branded Sword being banished is kind of annoying. The Albion being sent to the graveyard for the Lubellion, setting up the Branded Beast to then pop any card in the field during the main phase. As we're adding back a Cartesia and summoning a Quem from the deck to the effect of the Titanclad, as Albion sets up a Retribution, which can negate an effect to special summon. So if you try to summon, we will negate, as the Flash Fire in the draw phase takes out the Lubellion before they could activate the Branded Beast within the main phase to pop a card in the field. Now we have Runick Destruction within the draw phase onto the Retribution, popping it to trigger the Fountain to return back on the deck. 1, 2, 3, draw 3. Hey, there's the Maxi and Ash late to the party. As the Camellia sends a Sacred Tree from the deck to the graveyard, the Mirror Jade had already activated during the previous turn, so it is not disruption. Reborning our Camellia to then make a Baguska. Huh? Baguska is here. Baguska forcing the opponent's monsters into defense, and they will be negated if they activate while in defense. Grabbing a Branded Fusion. All we have to do is easily out the Baguska by summoning a Dragon to then tribute with the Lubellion, to then tribute with the Branded Beast, to then win the game. But we do have Ash to stop that. But then we top decked a Lubellion to search for a Bestial to summon to then pop the Baguska to then attack into game 4. I don't know what to say. Branded. Not even good. Yep. Grab the Magna Hut, banish from either player's grave. At least we have Maxi, as we could then maybe draw into a Runick Destruction. Isn't that card limited to 1 now? Runick Destruction, destroy the Branded Beast to protect our Baguska. Oh, it's still in the deck. We just didn't draw it. Smiting Storm. Oh, that works by summoning a Huggin to protect the Fountain, protect the Baguska. It does not get destroyed. Well done. Does Baguska negate the Huggin? No, it does not. So, I mean, this is crazy stuff going on. This is great. Negate. Well, not negate, but protect. Turn, get drawn. Wow, we survived another turn. Let's go. I really thought it was over. Baguska now on the attack. It is untargetable, but the Mirror Jade can now activate to banish. Interesting. By summoning a monster through a monster effect that will trigger the effect of the Gangrenol, which will use the Sunflower to negate, and we also have another negate for the Mirror Jade. Double negate. Wow, Naturia Runick is, fighting for their life. They're actually making plays. Can we even attack with the Baguska? I think we're just making it so we don't negate our own monsters. That's all we really wanted to do here. Runick Fountain being triggered to return 2, draw 2, triggering the Quem to reborn the Albaz. Our final negate is going to negate the Quem, thus releasing the Mirror Jade from it potentially being negated, as it can now banish any monster in the field non-targeting. Turn 2, draw 2. We now have curses to negate the banish. Donner Dagger for Hire is going to pop itself plus the Mirror Jade. Did the Mirror Jade already activate to banish? It didn't even try. We have Rinbrum to reborn the Albaz during the end phase here. Okay, sure. We got Curses, Monster Negate, and the Smiting Storm with 30 cards left in their deck, so we're not close to decking them out. Curses plus Smiting Storm. We are going to be forcing the activation of the Cartesia But our Fountain will be able to return 2 to draw 2. Albion is here, which could be attributed for the Lubellion in the grave. Let's get Banish in. Are there any good cards that have been banished so far? A lot of cards. The Regained, which would have been incredible against Runick, continually getting banished as we would be able to continually return them back into the deck to then draw. Maxi in response to the Cricket activating to summon from the grave in response to an extra deck monster being summoned. But we have Ash to negate the Roach. Cricket could summon from the deck a Camellia, but then we are reliant on the opponent summoning a monster while we have the Camellia to then reborn, the Sunflower to then double negate cards on the field, monsters that is. We're going to be using the Borreload Furious to pop itself plus the Fountain, finally ridding the field of the limited to 1 Fountain, which could be added back to the hand through the effect of Gary. Do we have another Gary? I don't, oh gosh, where's Gary? We're out of Gary. There's no more Gary. How do we get Gary back in the extra deck? We are summoning our Lubellion as we said we would do. End phase setting up a banishment through the effect of the Albion, which could reborn the Mirror Jade, which was properly summoned. Set, passing, end phase, activate, reborn the Furious, chain the Maxi in the end phase. What could we really draw into here? Hand trap maybe? Borreload Furious could pop the Set Maxi. We have Runick Smiting Storm, just randomly banishing cards off the top of the deck because why not? As we then wipe out the Cricket. As long as we don't summon a monster from the extra deck, the Cricket will not reborn as we then just go for game for a 2-0 victory. Branded Despia advancing to the grand finale. All right. Quem on summon sending a Retribution for the deck to the grave. Albion sending the Branded Fusion to add the Branded Fusion in the grave to our hand, which will then be negated by the Ash. Then we can follow up Triple Tactics Talent. Do we draw or do we look at that hand? If we look at the hand, we don't really have a play. So I'm thinking we're going to be drawing 2 here. With our talent, we're actually taking a look, return that Raisin back in the deck, which I'm sure we'll just add back through Pot of Prosperity. Huh? Back in the deck means shuffle, not put on top of the deck. Newly drawing a Raisin just like that. Look at the top 6, come to me, a second copy of Raisin so that Earl won't be salty. Drawing them, did Chris do that on purpose? That's kind of interesting. Reveal the Fire and Dark to wipe out the Quem, triggering the Jadlong to come forth in special summon as the Maxi will be in response to its summon as the Ash will then be negating. So we will be able to further special summon into a Rock of the Vanquisher if we would like. We do not have double fire in our hand until we Rock of the Vanquisher, add Raisin in the grave back to the hand to then double fire reveal for, I'm thinking a Snow Devil. Rock of the Vanquisher, main phase 2, add back with double fire, Jiao Long, double reveal, come to us. As I said, Snow Devil is here. And we don't have an Earth in the hand yet. But in the draw phase, we could search for an Earth, then we could use the Snow Devil to wipe out the entire field. We gotta be careful with the columns. Wherever they summon the Raisin will be able to wipe out that column, which will deal with the Albaz on summon activates, so you can't chain Raisin, stop it, pop it. We're going to use the Ash Blossom to negate the search for an Earth, thus relying on the Raisin searching for an Earth to wipe out the field with the Snow Devil. But what do we do here? We can't stop this. We can't pop it with the Snow Devil now. The fuse is going to happen. Rock of the Vanquisher is going to chain Special Summon before being fused into a Mirror Jade. Yep, the column of the Raisin really does not matter here, as the Raisin will now activate, searching for an Earth. And then we have an interesting situation with Mirror Jade versus this field. We're going to take out the Raisin within the battle phase, banishing the Jiao Long. They could use the Snow Devil to wipe out the Mirror Jade if they want to. They could instead just wait. We're going to add back the Branded Fusion in the grave to then send from the deck Cartesia and Albaz to make an Albion. We don't have a Branded opening in the grave to protect us from being destroyed. Cartesia recycling in the grave back to our hand. The Mirror Jade had already activated, so it's not going to activate again during the next turn. We have Banishment to reborn from the grave, then Fuse. We have the Untargetable Sanctifier, which could reborn 2 monsters from either player's graveyard onto either field. We're going to use the Stake Your Soul, reveal the Caesar, special summon the Pantera into the same column as the Banishment, revealing Earth and Fire to force the activation of the Banishment, reborning the Quem. We could then fuse with the field if we want to. Since the Mirror Jade has already been activated, we would maybe want to fuse with it, but we're not doing that. We're going to on-summon, use Quem, send from the deck. Now we're going to use the Snow Devil in response to the Quem sending a card from the deck to the grave to wipe out the entire field with no way to stop it. There's nothing we could do. The whole field's gone, besides the Pantera. Albion is going to be summoning onto both sides of the field a Fallen Albaz, which does nothing. Nothing. Nada. Burn, burn, burn. Wiping up the entire field. The Mirror Jade can now activate to wipe out the field during the end phase to return the favor. We have the Caesar Valius returning the Pantera back to the hand. This is game. 4,800, and we can't stop it. No block, nothing. No opening in the graveyard. Maybe if we foresaw this, maybe the Albion sending an opening could have potentially been a possible play here. Game with the Borger attacking directly. Interesting duel. Lubellion is going to be activating a search for our Serenir. Limited to 1 here, banishing the Lubellion to come forth and summon. We are going to fuse with our Serenir in Tragedy, using up our normal summon to make a Masquerade Blazing Dragon. Serenir send from the deck to the grave a branded fusion, as the Tragedy will not be triggering its effect to search for an Albert that can't be normal summoned. We're instead going to recycle the branded fusion to get negated by the Ash, to then use the hard drawn duplication, which normally it's set through a triple tactics thrust, to just copy the branded fusion during the next turn. And through the duplication copying the branded fusion, they can't use Ash. We are burning for 600 on every effect activation, special summoning our Fenrir, normal summoning the Raisin into the same column as the Masquerade. We are now going to be using the duplication to copy the branded fusion. Sending from the deck Cartesia and Albaz to make our Albion. Albion will then be activating on a separate chain link to be fusion summoning, using our hand, field, or grave. Masquerade again, continually burning 600 from the effect activation of the Raisin to destroy the column of the Masquerade. Thus, we will burn no more. With that destroyed Masquerade, we're going to go straight into our Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade being summoned, the effect of the Albion triggering the Fenrir to banish the Mirror Jade, but we're going to use the non-target monster Banish before it leaves the field, and we're then going to chain summon Caesar, protecting the Raisin from being banished, but then the Caesar will be banished instead. It's not going to be able to activate the ability to make itself unaffected nor pop a card in the field. It's gone right here, right now. Be gone, Caesar. All right, and be gone, Mirror Jade, banished face down. Cartesia add back to the hand during the end phase. Titanclad summon from the deck a Quem, which will trigger the effect to send a kit from the deck to the grave. Gotta be careful with the Fenrir. If we activate a monster effect, like we're doing so with the Cartesia, it will trigger the Fenrir to get banishing. So we have the Quem being triggered to reborn the kit, as the Gangrenol is triggered to send a monster from the deck or action X to the grave, not triggering the Fenrir as we are holding on to the effect here. Now we have Kit. Kit can recycle the branded fusion in the grave. Even if it's banished, we can add it back to the hand. So after it was banished by the fusion duplication, we add the branded fusion to the hand. We are now going to be branded fusing into sending the Gangrenol and the Albaz to make a Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade is here. To battle we go. We are going to be banishing the Fenrir off the field. Open field, 6,200 damage. And just like that, lethal. All right, think we have time. Final duel, then grand finale. Let's get to it. Raisin is searching for our Jiao Long, which we're going to be triggering its effect to summon onto the field after revealing a card. Reveal the DD Crow, draw, then special summon the Jiao Long, which will then reveal Double Fire to search our deck for any Vanquish Soul card here, which will be our Dust Devil, I should say our Snow Devil, to wipe out the entire field, not even bothering with a Rock of the Vanquisher. Puppet Nightmare in the opening hand here, going second, that is. What the heck? Let's reveal 2 fire, search our deck for anything after also activating to draw a card. First we'll add, then we'll randomly draw into a hand trap, possibly. No. We have Triple Tactics Thrust, adding a grass looking greener from the deck to the hand. Mill our deck to equal the opponent's deck size, milling over 20 cards here. I see Branded Fusion, Branded Sword. Is there a Retribution? Is there a Serenir? Retribution could add the Branded Fusion in the grave back to our hand. We are using the Tragedy to add the Branded Fusion from the graveyard onto the field, which the Caesar could destroy before it's activated, which we could then add back to the hand through the effect of the Retribution. Good job, Chris, on this play, but it does not work out too well because the grass is too broken. By getting an opening into the graveyard, it will preemptively protect our fusion summon monsters from the Snow Devil, from wiping out the entire field. What? Ah, there's nothing we could do. Nothing we could do. You chain DD Crow, I chain Retribution. Yup, check freaking mate. Yup, that sucks. Unbelievable. Wow, Chris, I thought the DD Crow should have stopped this. Branded in red is going to be performing a fusion summon. We're gonna wipe out the Alibur before the fusion summon. This is kind of interesting. I guess we know that there's an opening in the graveyard, so it doesn't really matter that we try to wipe out a fusion monster. We would be able to wipe out the fusion monster. It gets protected, then the Raisin could try to wipe it out again. At least that's what I think we would possibly want to do instead of using it early. Raisin searching for a Mad Love, but we have no Rock of the Vanquisher to summon it onto the field to then spin a monster on the field back to the hand. We have Magna Hut activating to search for a dragon during the end phase as the Mercurier searches for an Albaz monster. We have Kit. Kit will be special summonable. If we have an Albaz fusion in the grave, we're going to be tributing for our Lubellion. Lubellion is here, setting up a Branded Loss, activating Branded Fusion. You now can't respond to our fusion summons. Can't do anything. No chain. Every fusion summon is fully protected from the opponent being able to respond. And you do want to make sure your fusion summons are on Chainlink 1. Do not put Lost on Chainlink 1 ever. Unless you want your opponent to respond to your fusion summon for some reason. We have Lubellion here on Chainlink 1 again, discarding to fuse into our Mirror Jade. Now, the Mirror Jade on summon in response to its own summon could banish the Caesar Valius before it would activate, but it had already activated this turn. Kit is going to be special summoning, returning a card that is banished or in the grave or from the deck to our hand to then return the Nadir Servant back into the deck. Branded Sword recycling, I believe, the Mercurier back to our hand. That is right. And now we have another monster negate. Branded in white, banishing Albaz and Magna Hut for our Alba Lenatus. Doesn't this have double attack? Attack number 1, attack number 2 with the Lenatus using 2 materials. And within the battle phase, non-target monster banished, getting the Caesar off the field to then attack for game, 14,000 plus damage, lethal. Oh boy. Do you have the grand finale room? All right, what do we have here? Ooh, what? Branded post-ban list with Serenir being limited to 1 is now gonna win another Meta Weekly back-to-back-to-back-to-back. It's the 3rd one in a row, even after the ban list hit them. And we are abiding by the ban list. Good job, Konami. Let's go. Oh, see, the deck's not that good. Set Super Poly Pass, that sucks. It's actually pretty good in the mirror match because the opponent will be the one to maybe get an Albaz monster on the field for you, or at least a fusion and a dark monster will easily be on the field for our Super Poly. Yeah, I take that back. It's actually good in the mirror. We could try to play around it though. Just don't put too many bodies on the field. Just chill like this. We have the Tragedy being triggered, the Loss being triggered. We're going to be grabbing a monster negate potentially. As long as we don't summon the Alibur, we should be good. We got to be very careful here as we are not being careful. Now, the Super Polymerization will... Okay, if it weren't for Ash, we could get Lubellion into the Borload in response to its own summon, destroy the Super Poly, and it would not be activatable. Believe me. But we have Ash. Ash to negate the Branded Fusion. Very well done. And the Coritis being sent to the graveyard through the effect of the Super Poly will be triggering to summon a monster from the deck. Thank you for believing me. We do not have an extra deck monster in the grave to summon our Maximus. Ash is negating within a simplified game state, not saving it for a branded fusion, as we know the opponent does not have access to it. Ending the turn. That was the correct play. Ain't no way. Now we have our own Super Poly. Things are going to get really interesting now. We have the Gangrenol, which we can't respond to its summon. Branded Loss is going to get search in. We could use our own Super Polymerization within the window of being unrespondable if we want to get crazy here. Serenir activating. We can't chain to that. Now we can activate cards. To battle we go, forcing us to use our Super Polymerization, using the field to go into our own Masquerade, which will burn for 600 damage per effect activation. Quiritis will be activating to summon, I believe, an Albaz to then fuse with the Masquerade. Yes. We're also going to chain Druid Swarm, banishing our own Quiritis as the Albur summons and negates the Masquerade on the field. All within the battle phase. Holy moly. Do we still have lethal? 18, 25, 3K. Okay, Super Polymerization, barely an inconvenience, using the banishment to reborn the Masquerade and fuse with either side of the field, fusing the Mirror Jade and Druid Swarm for a Dragostapelia. Damn. Mirror Jade activating to wipe out the field during the end phase, but we're not done. You fused with my field, I now fuse with yours to still attack for game. Back-to-back Super Poly action is here. Dragostapelia and Alibur. Finish him? Nope. Masquerade blocking the lethal attack, but triggering the Gangrenol to summon a Quem from the deck. Quem then sends a Branded in High Spirits from the deck to the grave, as we only have a direct attack for 1500 damage. Retribution, recycling the Branded Fusion in the graveyard back to our hand. Wait, we didn't activate this yet? Oh my gosh, it is turn 4. Sending a Lubellion and an Albaz from the deck to the grave to summon an Albion. We already did use the effect of the loss to search our deck. We are triggering the Quem to reborn the Cartesia as the Albion then summons a Mirror Jade, which will be a non-target monster banish, which will then be a non-target monster banish again as the Quem will reborn it through the effect of the Cartesia getting the Mirror Jade into the graveyard. We're summoning a Boarload Furious instead. Okay, sure. Do we have a Mirror Jade already in the grave? No, it's gone. But holy moly, we have Negate, we have Pop, we have Fuse. Serenir attempting to banish the Albion successfully, getting itself onto the field. Battling into the Dragostapelia to kill itself to send a Retribution from the deck to the grave. This is not surrendering. This is an actual valid play that the Boarload Furious will completely nullify by popping that single back row card during the end phase. Boarload Furious better than Mirror Jade in so many different scenarios here. Boarload could play around the Super Poly by popping it on its summon. The Boarload is able to pop back row that you're trying to set up during the end phase. Ain't no way. Maxi versus Maxi. We also have Droll. Nadir Servant is going to turn off our extra deck summoning for the rest of the turn. Grabbing ourselves a Quem. Quem send from the deck to the grave. We now have our Branded Loss as the Serenir banishes the Albion at the end of the main phase before it activates to set up a Branded Banishment potentially. Very well done. You need Toggle on for that Bestial play. Gold Sark banishing from the deck to trigger the Droll and Lockbird, yes? Add Alibur, then Droll turns off the Alibur as you're no longer going to be able to add. Gotcha. To battle we go, big enough to wipe out the Quem and making sure to not trigger her effect by touching the extra deck. We now got Super Polymerization versus Nadir Servant. Nadir Servant. We have proof that he disconnected, okay? That is a 2-0 victory. He did, in fact, disconnect. It is unfortunate that that happened. I do trust that Earl GB did, in fact, disconnect. It's similar to sneezing on the field in TCG, spilling the milk all over your cards. It is unfortunately a game loss. You fool! All right.